Hello everyone. I'm actually recording this video on my cell phone, so I'll try to make it quick, but I wanted to share with you all my testimony of how God showed me hell. I struggled for the longest time. I struggled believing that a loving God, my God, your God, everyone's God, whether or not they know it or not, would create a place that was so torturous, that was so opposite of everything that he was. A place that lacks love, a place that lacks joy, a place that lacks mercy and grace. I struggle with this. And so, and the biggest thing is because there's so many pastors and churches and theological scholars out there that they don't believe in it, and they don't preach it, and they don't teach it, but the Bible says that it is a real place, therefore it must be a real place. So anyway, I prayed to God. I said, Lord, if this is a real place, like, can you, I dropped my phone. So, if this is a real place, can you show it to me? Can you put it in my heart where I just know it? Can you show it to me, but don't leave me there. I just only want to watch it. I mean, not even, I don't want to watch people suffer. I want to just know it's a real place. So if I can just, see the layout or anything, I just need to know that it's a real place. And I prayed this, for the longest time. I'd say actually for probably a few days, 3-4 days, and nothing. One day, my daughter came into my room about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, running into my room, and she had told me she had just had like this awful nightmare, this terrible nightmare. And at the time, she was probably about 7 years old. And so I said, well, baby, tell me what happened. So she said she was in this foreign land, and these aren't her words. She said she was in a place with pyramids. And so, but it was a place she had never been before. It looked foreign. She didn't really understand the language because people spoke with, they spoke another language, and they spoke with like a really hard to understand accent, but somehow she knew what they were saying. And so she said there was this evil king there, and this king came to her and told her, he said, if you worship me and you pray to me, I will make you queen over all the souls. And she told him, she said, you're only supposed to pray to God and worship God. So he got upset. He asked her the question 2 more times, totaling 3 times. And she told him no all 3 times. He said, okay, well, I'm going to bury you, and if you can get out, then I will let you go and you can be free to leave my land. But, you have 7 days to do it. So he said it was going to take her 7 days to get out of the dirt. So he buried her. And as she was trying to get out, he turned her position upside down. So she thought she was digging upwards to get out, but she was actually digging deeper into the earth. So she was digging deeper. And so she told me, she said, well, she had dug so deep, it was more than, the time that he had said it would be. It was longer. So by the time she reaches the bottom, to the point where she can't dig anymore, she gets to this place where it's almost like a giant cave, and she sees this giant, as she calls it, giant swimming pool of lava. And there's screaming there are people there, there's yelling, and it smelled like burnt, rotting eggs. These are her words. And she said that when she got there, the king asked her again, which she said was weird because he was on top of the earth, and then he was underneath the earth too. He was inside the earth. And he asked her again, if you worship me, I'll let you out of this place. I'll let you out. I'll let you go. And she said, no, you're only supposed to pray to God. And so he held her upside down by her feet, and he was preparing to like put her into like this giant, as she calls it, swimming pool of lava. And when her face gets this close to touching the lava, she says this hand that was white. Like, and when I say white, I mean like the color white, like light. Like when you think of the color light, you know, you have blue, red, green, purple, you know, the color white, you know, but it was like a light. It had a glow on it. And she said the hand was 1,000 years old. It was 1,000 years old. And it reached down like quickly, and it yanked her out of his hands. It yanked her out, and it pulled her up so quick that whenever she fell back into her bed, you know, she could feel, it's almost like a roller coaster. So you know how your stomach drops? That's what she felt. She said she felt her stomach drop, and it dropped into her body. And then she woke up, and she was scared, you know? And so she came into my room and she told me about it. And I mean, this was so potent to me, because I asked God to show me hell, and I asked him to show me hell on my terms, you know, like, let me see it as a spectator. I don't want to be in there. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to see it. I just want to know it's a real place. And he doesn't do that. He shows me through my daughter. Mind you, she's, like I said, she's about 7 at the time. I would never tell her. I mean, when I talk to her about God, but I never tell her stuff like, you know, there are people burning in hell. There are people tormenting in hell. For one, at that point in my life, I wasn't really sure that that was true, because I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that that is the fate of, that is truly the wage of sin. I didn't want to believe it, because we're so accustomed to living in his grace. We're so accustomed to living in this world that has, you know, that it has everything we ever needed. It has, you know, it's full of everything. It's full of his grace and mercy. And we're so accustomed to it. It's almost like we're used to it, that when it's gone, it's like, well, this isn't fair. Well, it was already a gift to begin with, you know? And so it was really hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that this might be a real place. And so he showed me through her, which there's so many reasons I'm grateful for this. I mean, God knows what he's doing. If he would have shown me on my own terms, I probably would have tried to justify it and logically explain it by saying something to the extent, well, I've watched so many videos on YouTube, and I've read so many testimonies, you know, of other people's visions of hell and what they've seen and near-death experiences, that, you know what, maybe I'm formulating my own thought. God knew that that would be something that I would probably at that point in my life try to come up with, you know, but he showed me through my daughter. The second thing I noticed about like what she told me in her dream was that she was like, I'm really like cautious to use this word, but she was actually tempted. You know, she was tempted twice. The first time he said, you know, if you worship me, if you praise me, I will make you queen over all this land, you know, or all the souls, okay, over all the souls. And she said no. And then when she gets down, you know, and basically into hell, and he has her over there, you know, he asked her again, if this is your last chance, you know, if you'll praise me and if you worship me, I'll let you go. I'll send you free. She said, no, you only do this to God. And God rescued her. And in these really tough situations where we feel like God is so far from us and he doesn't hear us, he sees the whole time, the whole thing. And it's almost as if it was a test. And when I tell you that my heart was just like overjoyed with the fact that my daughter was able to even overcome that temptation that was even just in a dream. You see, if I can say that I've done so many things wrong in my life. I've done so many things wrong. But one thing I know is that me keeping my daughter aware of who God is and his presence and the importance of having a relationship with God, I know that is something that I'm supposed to do, and I can say that I think I'm doing that right. You know, I've done so many things wrong, and her response was proof that I'm doing something that he finds he finds satisfactory. And so it just made me proud to know that she's listening. And these Bible studies that we have before she goes to school in the morning, and these praying sessions that we have, and me talking to her, that she's actually listening. And this was about 4 years ago, and she was 7 at the time. And so she is she's 11 now. And I'm just so, like, I think about it now and I still like want to cry, because I've just made so many mistakes in my life, and her response as a 7-year-old to be willing to not buck down, it makes me know that I'm doing something right. Well, anyway, I just wanted to share with you my testimony, and if you're still watching or listening, thank you for tuning in.